What's up, you guys? This is Rob from Gay Guy Plays, and today on Robrants, we are going to be taking a look at the Mirage Prime trailer and throwing a couple conspiracies at it. Like Bayless was talking specifically to Margulis during the whole thing. Listen, listen before you get a little too angry, a little too crazy. Do want to remember, this is a Robrants video. This doesn't necessarily need to be factual. It doesn't need to be correct. Y'all know I'm not a lore nerd, but I was just looking at the information. I was like, oh, this is interesting. This is what this sounds like. Now, if you have not watched the Mirage Prime trailer before, I highly suggest that you go and watch it without me. Okay, it's fucking good. I'm gonna go ahead and leave a link in the description box below to just watch it so that you can lose your Mirage Prime virginity to someone who is not me. Cause literally, I'm the worst. But it is an amazing trailer. Watch it for yourself. However, we are gonna jump into it in a second. I've actually got the script laid out in front of me too, which we'll be discussing after the trailer itself. And then we'll get into all of the little bits and bobs. So let's go ahead and just sit back and enjoy some of this ridiculousness.
Oh, how you suffered to become this beast. Yet you laughed at me. Others writhed and raged in the vice. But you played the fool. And so it was that you distorted my design. A sanguine trick. A murderous comedy. But no one is laughing anymore, except you. The mere vapors of your life, shimmering still. Mirage.
Okay, that moment when she Holo mirrored, I was like, bitch, you look good. I mean, let's take a quick look at that real fast, because the lighting on that was just spectacular. And I think that throughout the entire trailer itself, the lighting was absolutely amazing. Like, if you look at it there.
A sanguine trick.
Bam, right. They got the ass silhouette, like she like head butts up, you know what, got all the shape going on, the way that the lights peering out from the background, and then you could hear the beat, come in. I was like, oh.
A murderous comedy. But no one is laughing anymore.
The lighting in this whole thing was absolutely amazing. The music was on point too, just the it was like stealthy, but it's almost kind of like, it almost reflects a little bit of the burlesque in there. I was feeling it real good, but I do want to kind of put this out to you. There's definitely a message that kind of went out with the Mirage Prime trailer, and if you guys were listening closely, I really feel that this is a depiction of what happened when the Warframes turned against the Orokin. And it's pretty interesting because, okay, y'all think I'm crazy, but I feel like in some way, shape, or form, Bayless was kind of talking to Margulis. Or maybe he was talking specifically to the Warframe that led the rebellion. And this is the way that I'm going to put it. In previous trailers that we've seen, Bayless has always talked to an audience. Always talking to an audience of his peers, whether they're other Orokin or somebody. He was always talking to a group of people, telling them about the Warframe specifically. In this instance, and only one other instance, was he ever talking to a singular person. Here, he is very clearly talking to one person. And in the SANDR Prime trailer, he was talking to Margulis. And that's kind of like one of the really interesting things that I wanted to kind of place out there, is the only other person that we ever hear him go back and forth, well, not go back and forth with, but, you know, kind of put out this love note with the SANDR Prime trailer. Now he's got the Mirage Prime trailer, and it's almost kind of like, oh, what did you do? So let's go ahead and take a look at the script real fast. And one thing that I want you guys to pay very close attention to is there's a lot of yous and a lot of me's. It's very, very singular. So the lines go, oh, how you suffered to become this beast. Yet you laughed at me. Others writhed and raged in the vice, but you played the fool. And so it was that you distorted my design. A sanguine trick, a murderous comedy, but no one is laughing anymore, except you. The mere vapors of your life shimmering still. Mirage. Okay, so here's the thing that I need to put out here. There's a couple lines that, you know, we can argue about in a little bit, but the first line very much sets the tone that they are talking to a single person. Oh, how you suffered to become this beast. All right? Usually if you're going to be talking to a group of people in plural, right, you would say, oh, how you suffered to become these beasts, right? So what he is saying is it's singular. Oh, how you suffered to become this beast. Yet you laughed at me. Again, you laughed at me. Very singular. Others, so he's making it very distinctive that this is one thing, not necessarily a group of things, because this is different. Others writhed and raged in the vice. Now, for those of you guys who don't know what a vice is, it's something that grips or holds something tight. So basically, others were like squirming and trying to fight against it, but you played the fool. So it's basically like, you laughed at me. She was laughing the whole time, and she's like, whatever. While others writhed and raged in the vice, but you played the fool. So you played it dumb. And so it was, and this is where the two lines converge. There's two different lines here. This is what I heard initially, that you distorted my design. Some people were arguing it was that you distorted my desire. It's hard for me to think, but I'm just putting this out there. So it was that you distorted my design. So it's almost kind of like they sabotaged it, or they changed the purpose of it. And what they're talking about here is that this singular creation, all right, distorted the design of the Warframes. A sanguine trick, a murderous comedy, but no one is laughing anymore except for you. And that's the depiction of the Warframes getting rid of the Orokin. Now, the interesting thing about this line is if you change it to you distorted my desire, that kind of changes the tone of it. Because if you distorted my design, it almost sounds like he got tricked, like he got hacked, like, you know, someone sabotaged him. But if he says you distorted my desire, it could almost mean that you changed what I wanted. You manipulated what I wanted, and now what I want is something different from my original creation. So in this line, you know, it can be viewed a couple different ways. So either something ended up changing the path of the Warframes, or Ballas himself changed the path of the Warframes. Now it goes, a sanguine trick, a murderous comedy, but no one is laughing anymore but you. Can we just say, for me, this sounds like he's talking to Margulis, because as y'all know, Margulis is deaded. She's dieted. She is gone. And it's because of the Orokin, because they're like, nah, y'all, you're doing too much. You gotta go. You did all of these experiments with the Tenno. You're done. And so, a sanguine trick, for those of you who don't know what sanguine means, it's like bloody. So like a bloody trick, or having to do with blood, you know, if you want to be, you know, if you want to mince words. A sanguine trick, a murderous comedy. So a sanguine trick, like a bloody trick, like you fooled me, or you fooled them, depending on how it goes, because these are the Warframes turning against the Orokin, right? You fooled them, now you're killing them, and that's the trick. It's like, ha ha ha, they got their comeuppance. And then a murderous comedy, because ain't nothing funnier than the things created to protect the Orokin against the sentients turning against the Orokin themselves. And I mean, of course, here's the thing that you have to keep in mind, at least from my understanding of the lore, the Tenno weren't necessarily treated all that well. They were considered void beasts, right? They're considered these infected, not infected physically, but like mentally infected and twisted by the void. And that's why they were giving these Warframes, because they could control these Warframes to become warriors against the sentients, which were the main enemies of the Orokin. But the murderous comedy, the dark comedy, the dark twisted joke is, oh, the things that you disrespected and created to protect you because you didn't treat them nice to begin with are now turning against you and murdering you. But no one is laughing anymore except you. That was such a good line for me because I was like, Margulis, you got him. You got him. You came through and you snatched their weaves. You were like, oh, y'all wanted to deaded me? You want me to be deaded? Guess what? Guess who got the last laugh? Yes, it is me, Margulis. Fucked you up. And I'm not necessarily saying that it's Margulis proper, whether it's Margulis' influence on Billis with the desire, or whether Margulis, I guess, instilled something maybe into the Tenno children that distorted the design. So whether it was Ballas's desire or maybe the Tenno's design from Margulis's influence that changed the way that everything ended. But at the end of the day, Margulis got her final win. You know who this is? You know what this is? This is Lady Olenna from Game of Thrones. If you don't watch Game of Thrones, you don't know what I'm talking about. She's like, but I want you to know that I did it. I did it. Let her know. That's exactly what this feels like. It's like Mirage came through and she was like, just so you know, I was the one who deaded all of you Orokin people. And the reason why I keep thinking that it's Margulis is specifically because of the last line. The mere vapors of your life shimmering still. And the thing is, we know at this point, Margulis, gone. She gone, because the Orokin killed her, right? So here's the thing. So Margulis, deaded, but the vapors of her life, like spirit, like essence, shimmering still. It's kind of like her legacy lives on through these Warframes, right? So I feel like it's her influence, whether it's, you know, through manipulating the design or through changing Ballas's desire to make these Warframes into weapons against the Orokin, or to, you know, use them as weapons against the Orokin. And that's definitely my feeling. Now, we're going to watch this one more time, but the thing that I want you to listen for here, other than, you know, the little maniacal laugh that happens when Mirage is playing, but the thing I want to point out here is I want you to listen to his tone, because Ballas has a very different tone. Again, previous to this, everything that he had kind of like spoken to was definitely like audience-wise. He's always speaking to an audience, always chatting to an audience. Here, very single, very, very pointed, but the way that he speaks is he's kind of like irritated, but he also seems resigned to this. Like, it's kind of like, all right, you got me. You got me. I'm not happy that you got me, but you got me. GG, no re, I'm not gonna play again. I get it. You got me. So I want you to listen to his tone, because legitimately his tone in here definitely feels like he's speaking to a single person. He knows this person on a personal level, and he's like, fuck you. All right, you got me. You got me.
Oh, how you suffered to become this beast. Yet you laughed at me. Others writhed and raged in the vice. But you played the fool. And so it was that you distorted my design.
See, there he sounded a little betrayed.
A sanguine trick.
Now he kind of mad a little bit.
A murderous comedy. But no one is laughing anymore. Except you.
That you was like drawing out you. You see that you. It was a little sinister, but it's also a little sexual. Right? You feel that sexuality?
The mere vapors of your life, shimmering still. Mirage.
Right? Right? Like, you can hear like the resignation in his voice, like he's like, fuck you, but you got me, fuck you. Alright, so I've thrown out my theory on who Ballas is talking to. Let me know if you guys agree in the comments below, if you think that my conspiracy theories are crazy, if it doesn't match up with the history at all. But here, I do have to point this out. DE has been very good about sometimes, you know, going back on their old lore and changing things up a bit, swapping things up a bit. Regardless, let me know how you guys feel in the comments below. If you do feel like Ballast got played, or if Ballast got manipulated, or if you think it was Margulis's essence manipulating all of this. Because when he said the vapors of your life shimmering still, my core was like, he's talking about Miss Deaded Margulis. You dead, but you still got them. You turned my shit against them, which was supposed to protect. You got me. You got me. I get it, though. It's very much like, I get it. All right. I'm gonna leave you guys there. I've got some dress to kills to go and make. So as always, love somebody, hurt nobody, and touch that conspiracy theory. Let me know what you guys think. And I will chat with you guys next time. Bye-bye.